I learned about the nuclear from the organizations that were coming to educate the community, not from NuPEA, because NuPEA were not telling us everything about nuclear. So they were just telling the community that when we accept that project, they're going to build schools, they're going to sponsor our children to school, they're going to build roads, and they're going to create jobs. So all those promises is what they were telling the community. And we thought this is not right.
My name is Kitole Edward. I'm from the Uyombo community. That's where I live.
There are two slogans that we are using here. The first one is from Uyombo. We say Sitaki nuclear. Sitaki nuclear. And another one is Kana. Kana is an alliance that unites us as Kenyans. And we say Kana nuclear, Kana nuclear. So those are the two slogans that we're using now to say no to these projects.
They found a letter from NuPEA that had been written to the Ministry of Lands in Kilifi, asking them to allocate a certain portion of land for the nuclear power plant. So that's how we actually knew that the site was Uyombo. So we began our advocacy. We went into the community and inquired whether the community was aware that the nuclear power plant was coming up. They needed to be involved in the decision making about the location of the nuclear power plant, especially if their community was earmarked for it. And then they needed to be taught about what is a nuclear power plant for them to be able to then make a decision about it, whether they wanted it or not.
Kilifi County is a large area. Actually, it has a population of about 200,000 residents. From the place they are planning to build, you go about 20 kilometers, you ask people, they don't know about it. And they're going to be affected by this. So actually, the information that NuPEA, the agency, was trying to bring was confined in a certain area instead of educating the whole community. So they were like looking for a way just to come and impose this project to the people. So, because nuclear, we understand nuclear, when is set up somewhere, then nobody is going to stay around there. So that's why we are saying, okay, we are going to lose actually. They are promising us a lot of jobs, but we don't see a way that they are going to provide jobs for that community. So those are the effects that we think when we allow this to happen, then the community will lose a lot.
So we are at the site of the proposed nuclear power plant in Uyombo. It is right next to Uyombo Girls, the only girls' school in this ward. The only girls' school that empowers the girl child exclusively. And so for me, I have stated many reasons why this is wrong, but one of the most compelling reasons why this site is wrong is because of this school.
Kilifi community is a community that depends on tourism, ecotourism. And the area that was earmarked for the nuclear power plant lies under a UNESCO biosphere reserve, meaning it's a very rich biodiversity area. It's called a biodiversity hotspot for the country. And therefore for us from the onset, the location was wrong. It's between the only coastal forest in East Africa, that is the Sokoke-Arabuko forest, and the Watamu Marine Park, which is also a very sensitive marine ecosystem with dolphins and turtles and a lot of endangered species. So for us, that location was wrong. because of the environmental factor to begin with.
There's a lot of negative effects about the nuclear power plant in the community. First of all, you see, we are going to lose the tourists in Uyombo and in Watamu area, because this is a tourist destination area, and we have a marine park there. A lot of visitors come from Europe or all over the world to come and see different species of marine creatures.
This is a place where it's near the Indian Ocean, and there is a creek over there known as Mida Creek. The Mida Creek has a lot of mangroves and also different types of birds, species, and also we have actually fishing activities going on there.
This area is such an important area that if they put a nuclear plant here, there will be lots of jobs, because the hotels that are here they'll close down, and there will be lots of jobs. There will be lots of economic meltdown within the community. This area also has dolphins which come here seasonally to mate. They make babies here before they go back to the big sea. We also have birds that are international birds. It's an international bird area. We have birds flying all the way from Asia to here. They go to South Africa, they go to the southern part of Africa, they go back to Europe, they go back to Asia. So it's an area that must be protected at all costs. We cannot afford to let this area be poisoned.
The community don't want that plant here, because we have heard that the nuclear plant will bring us many problems. Like me, I am a fisherman. I depend on this ocean. Sometimes I fish, sometimes I take tourists to diving, whereby we get income from the sea.
On May 21st, I received a WhatsApp message, and it was a message of distress from one of the community members. They told me the police have come and they started beating the community. The community started recording the police brutality, and the more they started documenting and recording, the more furious the police were. They masked themselves up and now escalated the violence against the community. By the end of it, they released their report when they went back to the station, and the report said that they had used 137 rounds of live ammunition. They had used 44 rubber bullets, and they had used 70 tear gas canisters to a community that had no weapon, a community consisting of mostly women and children, a community that has never experienced violence in their whole existence, in all their generations. The violence was instigated purely by NuPEA and the police against the community. What the community did was just hold twigs and leaves and their phones and sing in their own community. They did not go against any law. So for me, this was a sign of how brutal state agencies were willing to be to violate rights just to forcefully impose the nuclear power plant on the community. The community is a community that has never had a human rights situation where they've had to stand up for themselves. And therefore, for them, the idea of opposing any government project was something that was so far-fetched when we began. We kept trying to boost their morale to understand human rights, that the fact that human rights are not for people who are maybe more economically empowered, They are not for a certain group of people, but human rights is for everyone. And they are not only guaranteed in the Kenyan Constitution, but there are also other instruments globally that support human rights. You know, nuclear is a very complicated concept to explain to a community that is largely illiterate. So one of the things that we relied upon actually very strongly was the right to say no. So we taught them about all their rights, their human rights, but we told them when it comes to a place where you do not have what to say, just say it's because it's my right to say no. Come 2024, we have a community that is so empowered. They might not be able to articulate everything around nuclear energy, but they can tell you about access to information, and they can tell you about public participation, and they can tell you whether they want the nuclear power plant or not.
Ya kwamba katika hii